overwhelmed. I have been since I came in and realized how big this was. I've sort of had a kind of out-of-body experience in the course of the last few hours. So I'm totally honored to be here. And of course, I'm totally honored to be receiving a Dorothy Green Award and honored to be honored by this amazing assortment of public servants of all kinds across the country. I mean, Dorothy would be blown away by this today. Its scale, people are nodding. The scale, the ambition, the work on the ground, the highlighting of staff, thank you. You are now my soul sister and I need to know you better. That was really great. And she would be shocked, I think, that you all are still spending so much time talking about her. And I think she'd be pleased. And I can't tell you how pleased I am. It's almost incomprehensible and truly wonderful. And I'm honored to be honored with my friend Miguel Luna, who I love so much. And it's been so much fun to have our paths cross through the years and just to see the amazing work you do and get to sit there and watch you do it from time to time. Really so deserving, and thank you, Alfredo, for honoring him. So it's been a lovely evening, and I just want to add a few thoughts about Dorothy, about this kind of work and attitude, and about what lies ahead, and why it's even more important. You know, you all know that Dorothy is 1 in a million. I've talked about Dorothy to strangers and people across the country, and actually across the world, and 1 in a million. And few people and few communities are lucky enough to have that kind of a passionate, grounded visionary in their midst. We have a few, Andy and others, who are in this room. Andy and I went to summer camp, so he's the one who he influenced me when I was 11. So any problems you have with me, blame him. Dorothy and I actually met in the late 70s when I worked for Congressman Tony Bielenson, who some of you will remember, a really extraordinary man. But then I re-met her when she handed me the text of her testimony at the regional board against the 301H waiver that the city of LA was then going for. Now, I hadn't planned to become her lawyer. I had someone from Sierra Club had walked in. I was the young fellow at the Center for Law who was on intake that day. And it was Larry Lacombe from the Sierra Club who said they had founded a group, the Coalition to Stop Dumping Sewage into the Ocean, which is a very descriptive, if not poetic, which became Heal the Bay, of course, which I argued against, because I'm a lawyer. I wanted Save the Bay, and I was wrong. And I apologize for every time I went, Heal the Bay. But it was powerful and great, because it had that human piece that some of us lawyers take a while to learn. Fortunately, I learned it. But I would not take a client unless I saw that they knew what they were doing. I did not want a client that was going to go and insult the decision maker, which is a fascinating tactic that many people do on all sides of the transom. I've never understood insulting the decision maker as a tactic. It seems kind of dumb, but people do it all the time. My whole career is based on being polite, I think, or seeming somewhat normal. But in any event, I went, but I had known Dorothy. I didn't realize Dorothy was a part of this. And she said, oh, good, you're here. I had worked with her on the phone, give my testimony. And with that, I became Dorothy's lawyer for quite a few years and became Sancho Panza to her Don Quixote. And I think that may well be the happiest years of my life, when I just was behind her in the background until she shoved me into the chairs. And that's a longer story we won't tell. I think the important thing about Dorothy, and it's been said, I thought Michael did a fabulous job earlier, as did others, but he particularly got, she was tough. I mean, she was absolutely no powder puff. If you ever saw her when she was mad at someone, unfortunately she never got mad at me. She kicked my ass into certain jobs and doing things, but she never was mad at me. She was pretty tough, but it was always with a strategic results focus in mind. She was focused on getting things done. And Heal the Bay in those early days was very good at pounding metaphorical tables, but the difference was, and this was Dorothy, we knew to sit down when people would sit and talk, because the goal was to get something done when the opportunity arose. And I think also of key individuals, some of whom have been named, and many of whom are in this room, but I think about the late Frank Graham and about Don Smith, who said maybe we should talk to them as opposed to just being mad at us for demanding that the bay be cleaned up. Later, Judge Pragerson, who we lost just a few years ago, who forced us to talk to each other in 8-hour days over and over. And I'll get to this point in a moment, but over time, a lot of other people who aren't with us anymore, Bob Horry and Harry Sizemore and others at Public Works, people who are still around and wonderful at Avila, and Maureen Kindle, Merle Evers, Kathleen Brown, and others, and of course Mike Gage and Mayor Bradley. And we tried to rebuild the environmental movement in LA with Andy, with the League of Conservation Voters, with the Coalition for Clean Air, into one that would invite in anyone who cared about LA. Not just environmentalists versus the business sector versus the government sector versus utilities, but anyone who wanted to join, to create a more inviting opportunity for everybody to contribute to helping heal LA. And that she took that into the other things she did later on after she kicked my butt up to EPA with starting this incredible organization of people coming together, not just to talk about stuff, and I'm going to get to that, but to do stuff on the ground. That combination of theory and practice is so important to pull together and really powerful. There's a lot more I could say about Dorothy, but she was really someone to be revered, and I'm so grateful you have. About the work, thank you for remembering my ecosystems. I know I've been talking about that for 30 years, but to me that's the problem. It's not the engineering or the law or the money a lot of the times, it's us and how we don't take the time to connect. And it can be a mushy buzzword, or it can be an intentional philosophy and powerful strategy. And people use that same word to mean different things. And I think I want to encourage you tonight to recognize that it's not a soft word, it's harder than fighting, as Tim Quinn often says. It takes emotional intelligence, it takes energy, it takes patience and persistence. It takes taking a hard look at yourself in a setting and be willing to consider that you're wrong or you didn't know the answer, or that there's something you can learn from everybody, even somebody who's bugging the shit out of you at a given moment. And in fact, those people have probably taught me some of the biggest lessons. And so figuring out how, and here I am preaching at you, but not to the choir, I don't mean that as an insult, but we all do this. We have a tendency to get into our self-congratulatory circles. It's us versus them. We're good, they're bad. We're better than they are. We know better than they do. And that's no way for us to build a community or to make progress, particularly across a watershed scale, and particularly where we need to honor nature as well and bring nature and people together in this watershed work. And so we really have to work at that reaching out, something that Miguel is so good at, but also so generous with bringing people along, and something that so many of you are such, I mean, I can't even name you all. There are so many of you who are my heroes in this room. But I will just say, I'm known for patience, persistence too, bit of a badger, but I work at it, at asking questions when I really am irritated, and to use inquiry and curiosity. And I have had more humbling moments where someone who was irritating me actually didn't mean what I thought they meant, and actually had something to contribute when I thought they didn't. And I work at it, and I'll give you two tips, sorry. One is that extra beer or cup of coffee when you're really irritated and you're sick of somebody, it's a mistake to not do it. My regrets, it's a mistake. My biggest regrets are when I didn't do it. Either because when I wasn't allowed to, because the strategy was for me to be an 800-pound gorilla to scare people into somebody else's arms, because I'm a lawyer, I can play the bad dog too, as well as the good dog. But also when I just got tired, or sick of someone, or decided, they're just being a liar, because they can't possibly believe what they're saying. And those have all been mistakes. So I'm not trying to encourage alcohol, that's why I mentioned the cup of coffee. And you can go get, but when you're tired and sick of something, you should have that one more cup of coffee to understand why they don't get something you think is obvious. It takes work. And for me, and this is the second thing, it takes Post-its on the bathroom mirror. Some of you know which hearings I'm talking about. I wrote patient, ask questions, and all caps at the top of the page, the beginning of every hearing. I wore tinkling, I don't need them now, tinkling bracelets, a Tibetan one too, because I figure if the Dalai Lama can have compassion for the Chinese, I can have compassion for anybody, if he can do that. And it would just remind me to be compassionate towards people and myself. And during those hearings, I bought 2 bracelets that each had 15 Virgins of Guadalupe. It's the only way I thought I needed all the help I could get to stay patient during those hearings. So we all have those moments. And then finally, why is it key for me to say to you this when you're, I just did that in Yiddish sentence structure, to say this to you, right, and my grandmother's now being channeled, not just Dorothy. But we are at the brink of something either horrible or wonderful in this area. We are threatened by climate change in a way that I think it's hard to internalize and it's hard to realize, and we've got to get on it. We're also threatened by the fact that we need to give up more water for the environment. We have to. We're destroying the ecosystems that have given life to this state, and we can argue the science. I'm telling you, we can argue old science, new science. That is not how science works. There's old science, there's science that's built upon, there's experience, it's there. We're going to need to give up more water down here if we don't want to be villains for the whole state of California. And it's not just us, I know, I'm sorry, but we're going to have to do that if we want to live with ourselves. And we can have earthquakes, so we're very much at risk. What we're at the brink of is figuring out how to solve it. And I am so pleased with the work that the Watershed Council has been doing. The fact that Measure W got passed, I am so excited. I mean, it took a few tries, and Mark, I can't remember what's the percentage?
67%.
Thank you very much. I think you said that to me like 10 times in that first week. It was pretty exciting. But and then it's passed, but now we got to do it. And it's easier said than done. The 2 massive recycling projects, the Met County Sand Project and the City of LA, Operation Next, they make my heart sing. I actually wrote a paper about it. I need to write. It's amazing with people what you all are aiming for. I keep telling everyone all around the world, I've given this talk, and now I've written it down so you have to do it, that it's going to be, this is the center of climate adaptation in a water scarce region for the world. For the world. So now you have to do it. But the way to do it has to be with the people piece of it. It's all about the people. It's all about ourselves and how we relate to each other. And with that, we really need to transform LA above ground and below, and we will over the next decades, but we have to transform ourselves and our relationships to do it. So thank you so much for caring about that and for being where we are here today, where 30 years ago, a number of the agencies in here would refer to me as that woman. We are now all great friends. And I can't tell you how proud I am of so many of you through so many of the generations. And finally, just personally, you know, I will always be an Angelino. And I am so honored and moved, really, that I'm still a part of this community and that people still, this is my home community. That is not. It's fine up there, it's nice, but I stayed there for love, that was important, it was worth it, but this is home and my community, and thank you for making me feel appreciated and welcome and still a part of this community. That means more to me than I can possibly express, and thank you again over the years for honoring Dorothy. It's really fantastic. Thank you. Now back to work.
So the only thing between you all having a chance to get dessert and mingle and all of that is me and Marty. And
Make it quick.
yeah, we'll make it quick. But this is the important stuff. First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. It turned out to be a wonderful event at a great setting. Thank you, LADWP, for the setting. We really appreciate it. Marty will be thanking our sponsors on behalf of the council, but I wanted to thank the council staff for all of the work that they put into it, the council board for their guidance, particularly the planning board members, the ones that got together every week for the last several weeks, talking about the program, talking about the details. I certainly want to thank Rebecca Frazee, Marty Adams, and Alfredo Gonzalez for just hanging in there for several weeks in a row, and the whole board. I want to thank the staff. Eileen, thank you so much. I know that this has been a crazy period of time, and you're just about there. We've almost made it. But I thank you, Rebecca. There's some individual people within the staff that just went extra mile. Elise Eberhard, Drew Reedy, and then Kathy O'Connell and Belle Zhang, just working tonight's event, preparing. Thank the DWP staff, throughout the organization for all of the detailed work that they did to make this possible. I want to thank Debbie Enos that helped us plan for this event. She worked with us all along as an event planner, and we had hurdles and all kinds of things that we had to deal with, but Debbie was fabulous. And I want to thank Yvette Martinez from Metropolitan Water District for all of the staff support that she provided to us tonight. Thank you, Yvette, and all of the staff. And now I want to ask if Marty can make some closing remarks and allow us to enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you all.
Thank you. Well, we're almost home. So I just want to thank you for all coming to our site tonight. This has been a real pleasure and an honor to be able to host everyone here on this special occasion. And so it's great to have you here at the department. And this is the first time we've done something like this here, and I don't think it's going to be the last. So I hope you like the setting. And if we get the pond repaired and the drought ends, we'll put the fountains up. So that'll be hopefully next year. Keep fingers crossed. So I do want to thank our sponsors. This doesn't happen easily, putting on a function like this. It's really the folks that really really support the organization behind the scenes have made such a difference. Our sponsors include LA County Sanitation Districts, LA County Public Works, Stantec, LA Sanitation, San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, Tetra Tech, Hazen, Kennedy Jinx, WSP, Arcadis, Brown and Caldwell, Corollo, Black and Beach, Resources Legacy Fund, HDR, Paul Redvers Browning, and our big four sponsors. Particularly thank you for really carrying us this time: Jacobs, Southern California Edison, MWD, and CBM Smith. So thank you all for your support of this event tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's dinner, it came from us by Homegrown Kitchen that catered it from off-site and borrowed our kitchen to finish it up. And thank you to our wait staff that did a wonderful job serving us this evening. So at that point, if I could ask the honorees and both current and former board members from the council to come up for a few photos real quickly. And we have dinner and coffee and time to... No, dessert? Well, I always eat, so it's like... Let's try dessert then. Okay, dessert and coffee are served around the corner here, and please feel free to stay as long as you like and enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you very much for being here. Let's do dinner.